from the Academy of Sciences from Prague, who is going to talk about high medieval sites in southern Uzbekistan.
So hello. So my research is dealing with medieval sites in the foothills of Kugitang and Byzantine mountains in southern Uzbekistan. So just to be on the same page, we are talking about a pre-Mongol medieval era in Central Asia, which means the time span from 6th to the beginning of the 13th century, which is divided to the early medieval and high medieval period, and the transition between them is the Arab conquest and the introduction of Islam to the area, and the end of this era is marked by the Mongol invasion and subsequent devastation of the whole region. So my project is based on the activities of the Czech-Uzbek archaeological expedition, and which is like doing the research in Surkandaria region, South Uzbekistan, for almost 20 years, and from the year 2014 the main focus is the foothills area of the Kugitang and Byzantine mountains. The dataset collected by the expedition regarding the pre-Mongol medieval times consists from material from surface collections and prospections. And by analyzing this material, several fundamental issues emerged. So it means the settlements dynamics of this area during the medieval period, the totally lack of comparable unglazed pottery assemblages from the area. We don't have anything. Every other pottery assemblage is from the lowlands or either far away, geographically. The emergence of the red painted pottery and mining and processing of metals, which took place in this area during the medieval times. So, in order to get further with these topics, we need to establish a basic chronology and typology of the pottery based on solid stratigraphy, which is reliable. So, in order to do that, we decided to excavate several sites. We choose the method of a stratigraphic cut. So we excavated 3 sites: Lungitepa, Kalehisor, and Saber Archa. The Lungitepa and Saber Archa, these are the tel settlements, in local terminology Tepa. And the Kalehisor site, it's a hilltop settlement. The altitude of these settlements, it's from 1,000 to 1,350 meters above sea level, so they are pretty high in the mountains. And to switch to the results, or what we done so far, so we have a complete stratigraphy of the 3 sites, and we have radiocarbon dating for this stratigraphy. So now we can say that there was a continuity of the settlement from the 6th to the beginning of the 13th century. In the case of the Lungitepa, there is even older strata from the late Kushano-Sassanid period, which means the 4th to 5th century. And we clearly see that at the beginning of the 13th century, all these sites were abandoned, and settlements never returns to these sites. Only in the case of the Lungitepa and Saber Archa, they were later used as in the 15th to I think 18th century, they were used as burial grounds, which is common feature in Central Asia. These tel mounds are used later as a burial grounds. As far as the pottery, we are now currently doing the chronology of the pottery, but for my liking, we have not so many closed units. So, and the pottery assemblage is highly fragmented, which is kind of a problem. But we done a comprehensive analysis of the pottery from Lungitepa, one of the sites, and the results are that non-glazed pottery was made locally, which means in the foothill region, because yeah, we don't know the production site, and like the glazed ware and the finer ware were made in Termes, because the Termes, it's like the closest medieval town, the huge like production center. There are the whole district where the pottery was made is uncovered, so we are pretty sure that the glazed ware and the finer ware was brought from Termes. And regarding the metal processing, from also the site Lungitepa, we have an assemblage of slags, and these were analyzed by XRF. So now we can say that this whole activity, because there were speculations that even precious metals can be excavated in this area and so on, but no, it's only iron processing and iron smelting and smithing. And all these activities can be dated to the high medieval period. We don't have like them in situ, so we cannot say like the exact time of these activities, but they are in the context of the high medieval layers. Yeah, so that's it from me. And
thank you, Ladia. Our next speaker or speakers is Joanna Slomska-Bolonek and Sławomir Wadyl from the University of Warsaw and the Academy of Polish Sciences, respectively, talking about Fair with the Better.
First of all, good afternoon, good colleagues. I came today to you with finds from Nowy Chorów district slopes. In this cemetery, maybe before I start about finds, I will tell you that I am textile researcher, and this material came to me by the accident. Because I found the information about the spare with fabrics on the Facebook page, where Sławomir Wadyl presents the material which he found during the excavation process in Nowy Chorów. And as a textile archaeologist, I'm trying to secure as much as possible textile founds, especially before the conservation process. So I offer my cooperation, and we preserve quite interesting finds. The material comes from early medieval barrow burial, Ka. Barrows on this type are called Orzeszków type. They are existing only in Pomerania, and they are usually in the burial place of several people, and their characteristic is spiritualism. Now we know that in this area we get 16 or 17 barrows. In the center of the barrow Ka, here there is a grave 7 where inside was found a spear and a wooden bucket. The comparative and typological analysis of this discovered object indicate that barrow was created in 11th or in the first half of 12th century. About the fabric, 2 in the numbers occur in the fragmented and totally mineral form. They were observed on the one side of the spear. They were lying one on each other. The first one occurs almost over the entire spear. It was very fine product with loose interlocking. it was mostly like made from the sheep wool, but because of the fully mineralized threads, there wasn't possible to identify it on 100%. And the count of threads was in the one system 12 to 14 and another 14 to 16. Threads were twisted on the right side, and they were pretty thick because the dimension was 0.3, 0.4 millimeters. I am telling you about this technical aspect because for textile research, researchers, those informations are very important because thanks to them, we can see the difference between textiles. For example, like in this case, because another textile was totally different, different characteristic. And this first textile, this first fabrics, probably it's very typical it's very typical in the medieval and the fabrics we are there's a type of fabric we can often found on the military on the weapons. They are twisting, they are around the metals, or just lying on the one side. In this situation, we are just textiles on the one side, so it's probably the remains of kind of shroud. And the second textiles, the second fabrics, which is most unique, is preserved mainly on the spur leaf. This is a much thicker product than the first one. It is classified as a balanced fabric in a tabby weave, probably prepared from the sheep wool. The numbers of threads in both systems was 10 to 12, twisted also on the right side, but the dimension of the threads, which doubled than on the first one. It was 0.7, 0.8. And the very interesting things is this project was decorated by the type of embroidery. The decorations was done with thicker threads twisted on the different side than the main fabric. In places which threads were running single or doubled, forming line stitches or loose loops. The small area where the ornament is preserved doesn't allow us to identify the pattern. It is always very difficult to recognize the primary function, the original function of fabric. But on this case, the context of this find and the way how it was preserved and made it, and it seems to be the remains of some kind of battle site. This hypothesis is supported by this rather thicker structure, compact and simple wave, and also by elaborated decorated motif. Flag, banners, and pennants were assessed in iconographic and written sources. They are undoubtedly a symbol of power. And why this find is so important? Because right now we don't have any, up to this moment, we didn't have any finds of banners from the archaeological finds. For this reason, a question worth to discuss is the social status of the person buried in this necropolis. Undoubtedly, the new discovery indicates that, at least in this particular case, we are dealing with a burial of the person, which has an important social role. It could have been a local military commander, and those representative of an elite status of society. So as we see, just small find of fabric can give us very interesting information, help us to better understand the past. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Agata Macionczyk from this very institute that we are having it. So thank you very much for hosting us. And please tell us more about this very special stove tile.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone. Can you hear me? So my name is Agata Macionczyk. I work in this Museum of Archaeology in the Department of Late Medieval and Modern Archaeology. So I thought in our museum we don't unfortunately need any archaeological excavations, but we deal with objects that were excavated sometimes many years ago. So I thought I should show you something from our collection, and I chose the stove tile with coat of arms of Christ because I thought it's nice and cool, and what's cooler than coat of arms of Christ. It is a stove tile that was excavated in the vicinity of the main square in Wrocław, in the area of former burger houses. I hope today you will be able to see the place, maybe. And the tile is decorated with a depiction of so-called coat of arms of Passion, or in German it's called Passionswappen. But in Polish we don't have a word, and I believe in English there is also no term for this kind of motif. But I called it a coat of arms of Jesus. And in the Middle Ages, the genealogical research was led around Jesus and his family, because he was coming from the royal line, so people thought he had to have a coat of arms. And they came with this imaginary coat of arms with instruments of passion in the shield, and there is a great variety of the objects that were shown in the shields of these coats of arms, but the objects and the symbols are all of course described in the Holy Bible, in the history of Christ's Passion. And this motif was shown in various works of art, especially in paintings, in sculpture, also tombstones. And the most important impressions of this motif were in graphic arts. And probably this object from Wrocław is based on some graphic pattern, because as early as in 15th century, some early woodcuts were coming to Silesia, and they were becoming an inspiration from the local craftsmen. And but I wasn't able to identify the pattern, but I hope maybe some of you will someday find it, and please let me know if you do. And this motif also was shown in tombstones, as I said, and it's very important because for Wrocław there are many objects that were decorated in a way inspired by the Christ's Passion, but it's mostly crucifixion, of course. So as early as in 14th century, we have metal objects, devotional, of course, but also the plaques that were put inside the metal vessels. And in the 15th century, also small clay figurines showing, for example, St. John, as you can see here, with chariots, and also Christ. But in the beginnings of the modern era, there were also depictions on the outside of the vessels made of glass or ceramics, and they were the function of those vessels is somehow unclear, but they probably were also inspired by the art that was available in the public space. So the epitaphs, as you can see here, some inscriptions of memento mori type. But the stove tile that I'm presenting today is special, it's very unique because the representation is quite abstract and it's not a scene from the Bible. So its function must have been quite different, and probably it was a part of this decorated representational furnaces that were a means of transporting the ideas connected to the religion, to the moral aspects, and also historical aspects. So, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for this super exciting find. I haven't seen anything similar, but I hope the people have some collected information for you. And if not, this is also an advertisement. I can recommend you to write it to the EMF list, and there might be people who will know things about it. Amazing. Thank you. So our next speaker is Marco Martini, who is going to talk a little bit more about the fortress of Arena.
If you were here yesterday, you already know something about the Castle of Arena, but if you weren't, don't worry, I'm here to save the day. The fortress of Arena is situated in Calabria, which is a region in south of Italy, and the castle used to be an important place long after the end of the Middle Ages, constantly changing its functions until the severe earthquake of the 1783. And today, specifically, I'm here to talk about the outcomes that we had from the last campaign that we had in 2023. The results are quite interesting because, in particular, we found several stone-made walls. They are of different size and functions, In fact, we have a bigger wall that seems to be a part of defensive curtains, while the other ones that are much smaller probably give us some hints of small buildings. But it is thanks to the material culture that we can say something about the usage of the castle along the centuries. In fact, we found out more than 3,000 fragments of pottery, and the tableware ceramics is the most witnessed, both glaze and graffita, especially in this area. I don't know if, okay, especially here in this portion of the castle, and this, along with the discovery of some coins dated to the 17th century, allow us to say that at least this area of the castle was used until the 17th century, also because we know that in 1659 there was a second, a first earthquake that was pretty damaging. In fact, there was several collapses of the walls, and in a way they froze the strata under it. Also in sector A, which is this, you can see, we found out an iron key, some hinges, and some locks, and hypothetically we can say that probably this was an enclosed space. Moreover, you can notice the bedrock in the central portion of the castle. You can notice how it is located at a higher level respect to the other side of the castle, and most of all, you can notice some post holes and in negative the traces here of probably a thick building. Unfortunately, here we couldn't find any material culture, so the lack of data don't permit us to say something about the chronology and the usage of this area of the castle. This castle still today plays a crucial role for the local community identity, and for this reason we started a public engagement project in order to enhance the importance of local heritage. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Marco. And we have arrived to the last presentation of the flash presentation / poster session, which is going to be by Arne Kluge from the University of Lodz, and he's going to talk about visibility analysis on castles. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I wrote probably by mistake.
No.
Sorry, Arne.
No, I'm extremely jet lagged, and I looked at the one low below.
No problem.
So from to begin.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for having me. Presenting to you today the early stages of my PhD topic, which is currently conducted in the University of Tübingen in Germany. I first want to give you a bit of side information about the so-called Augustinerhof excavations in Nuremberg. The project aims to research major excavations from 2008 and 2009, as well as from 2017, within the urban floodplain of Nuremberg-Franconia. The site is located just a few steps from the northern riverbanks of the River Pegnitz, and leads on its east side directly towards the market square, the historical market square, which was built around 1350. North from the site, the hill slope towards the Nuremberg Castle is beginning, as well as monastery for the Augustiner, which also gave birth to the creation. Augustinerhof, which is basically not really a historical name for the place, but just a trend word for the new mall that was built there. That's why it's always put in angles. Yeah, the excavations are still the biggest to this very day and most productive. They were within the urban center of Nuremberg and produced well over 3,500 medieval and post-medieval features. Due to the location in the immediate vicinity of the river, the excavation offered excellent preservation conditions for wood and resulted in over 2,000 wooden contexts. The wooden contexts include, as you can see here on the slide, several wooden latrine boxes. The yellow fillings mark their location, as well as several cellars. They are red here in the picture, as well as bank reinforcements. Interesting about the cellars slash the buildings that were excavated is that they were mostly, especially in the northeast and the east, burned down within a burning event that is traceable in various places in Nuremberg and which is coindated after 1195. And yeah, therefore also from the material culture we have good absolute dates. To this point, the wooden features resulted in a pool of over 200 dendrochronological dates, allowing a detailed image of the district's evolvement. The Lower Heritage Department of the city of Nuremberg still has more samples within their archives, so there's hope that we can still drag more dendrochronological dates, and I also do hope so, because some of the wooden contexts might still answer a few absolute chronological questions provided by these open samples. Yeah, to summarize the excavation itself, they offer an excellent starting point for fine chronological settlement analysis, especially within the socioeconomically varied time frame 1150 to 1350, which pretty much represents the early wooden phases that have been excavated here. Yeah, while the analysis of the chronological and spatial sequences alone is very promising, the excavation also allows a deep insight into the material culture that was found within these features, therefore the PhD I'm conducting is not just focusing on the face building and the actual researching of the features, but also is aiming to build up a ceramic chronology, because the current chronology of Middle Franconia is currently still rather insufficient. We are using super-regional chronologies from other regions to date our own material, which is odd because Nuremberg has such a rich amount of absolute dates and closed find complexes, which just yet haven't really been used. The ceramic finds will be grouped within my PhD, including petrographic analysis of a representative amount of samples. We're thinking about using 3 to 4 samples per archaeological defined material group. So we will probably use 50 to 60 samples for archaeometric proving of our archaeological groups. And we also want to include various interdisciplinary sources to understand the transformation within the pottery evolution. Besides the material grouping and typology, the project aims to include correspondence analysis and specifically seriations, with particular attention to the wooden latrine boxes or the closed contexts, to gain detailed insights into the fine chronological developments, hopefully allowing us to capture crucial craft organizational and technological upheavals at the transition from the High to Late Middle Ages. This is of particular interest since especially the 13th and the 14th century show distinct transitions within the craft, resulting in different production techniques, quantitative output, etc. This is especially also for the changes within techniques which we can see well in the material. For example, the slowly fade out of wheel-coiled wares and the distinct come up of wheel-thrown wares, which also comes with an absolute explosion of material in the 14th century. As mentioned, currently it's still early stage in my PhD, and therefore at this point speaking more about potentials and possible results and not actual results. I'm actually just I just started a few months ago, so I hope that next time I'm presenting it I can actually show you actual results. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you so much, Arne. And I'm sorry again for messing up your title. We have planned. What are you doing?
I'm turning it off.
Okay.
No, but I want to say a few things.
Okay.
Yeah, but you start.
Yeah. So our idea was that the discussion for this flash presentation session, or flash presentation session, poster session, would be much better situated in the other room, where we can also have coffee with it.
And the posters.
I can do
And,
it.
the posters themselves is a reminder, because I'm sure that you have many, many questions, and I would like to thank you sincerely for all the presenters in this session to bring here your wonderful research. It was super excited, and I'm very hyped. So thank you.
I still can speak. The organizational things while I'm having a microphone. So, after we have the discussion, here is Radek Gliński. I hope that he's still somewhere there. And after we finish, we go here for a short presentation, because after there is a trip around the town with Radek as I think the most perfect person to give us a tour. Of course, whoever wants can join for this tour. And at 8, probably we will finish in the town center. But at 8 in Piwnica Świdnicka pub, which is exactly in the main Rathaus, sorry, exactly in the Rathaus, there is a pub which is one of the oldest pubs.
Rathaus?
Rathaus. How is Rathaus in City Hall? Thank you.
Yes, but where is?
Exactly in the center of the main market square.
So where I live, where I stay.
You won't miss the City Hall. Actually.
I won't be the first one to leave.
And it's located and basically in the written sources it says that there is a pub since 1273. So it's like one of the oldest places to go. We have some beer money for it, so the beers, at least one round, will be for free. And you can order some food as well there. So when we finish the discussion, we come here for one short presentation about the town, so you know what you're looking for when you're wandering, and then there is this short trip. Okay, let's go to the Krakow.